Here are the top 10 changes that the Iowa Democratic Party has made to the manner in which the Iowa caucuses will be conducted in the 2020 elections. Look closely and see if you can find the truth. Change number 1. Rather than use an old-fashioned process, like democracy, in which every person gets one equal vote, the Iowa Democratic Party has decided to modernize the 2020 caucuses in a manner that is clearly explained in their 65-page PDF that specifies the rules for delegate selection. Please realize that the purpose of the caucuses is to choose delegates. Participants in the Iowa caucuses only appear to be voting for president. In fact, they are actually voting for delegates to the county, district, state, and national Democratic Party conventions. The new plan creates two separate types of caucuses: physical caucuses and the new and improved virtual caucuses. And it treats the votes from each type of caucus in a very different manner. Change number 2. The Iowa Democratic Party has decided to conduct a series of virtual caucuses before and during the physical caucuses. These virtual caucuses will be held over the span of 6 days from Wednesday, January 29th, 2020 to Monday, February 3rd, 2020. Iowa voters who wish to participate in the virtual caucuses must pre-register as a member of the Democratic Party by December 31st, 2019, and they must also pre-register for the virtual caucuses between January 6th, 2020 at 9 a.m. and January 17th, 2020 at 5 p.m. And they must provide information to ensure the security of those who participate. Accurate virtual voter registration information will need to be provided to each caucus location to ensure that those voters who registered for the virtual caucuses will be physically prohibited from participating in the local in-person caucuses. Think about that. Change number 3. The Iowa Democratic Party will provide presidential preference cards to facilitate the tabulation and reporting of the results of both the first and second round of voting. Exactly what will those cards look like, and how will they function? It sounds like a simple question, but when you actually think about it, it may be more complicated than you think at first. The presidential preference cards will require a signature from the participant along with the participant's legibly printed name. Legibly printed name. These cards will be preserved by the county chairperson until the caucus results are certified, which I guess means that once the vote is certified, those cards may be destroyed. Change number 4. The software that will control the virtual caucuses has not yet been written, nor will it have the opportunity to be live tested before its initial use during the actual 2020 caucuses. At some point in the future, the Iowa Democratic Party will develop requests for proposals in order to receive private contract proposals from technology vendors who will then provide the hardware, develop the software, and print the presidential preference cards that will be used to tabulate the results of the caucuses. No problems there. Change number 5. The Iowa Democratic Party has not specified the use of open source software that would enable everyone to see the actual computer code that is being used. Instead, it is likely that proprietary technology vendor software will be developed. Change number 6. Rather than use a single threshold of 15% to determine a candidate's quote-unquote viability, the Iowa Democratic Party has decided to require 25% in caucuses that will select 2 delegates, 16.66% in caucuses that will select 3 delegates, or 15% in caucuses that will select 4 or more delegates. Change number 7. Rather than utilize equal representation and uniformity between the virtual and physical caucuses, the Iowa Democratic Party has determined that a random number of delegates, they chose 10%, will be determined by the virtual caucuses, regardless of how many people participate in the virtual caucuses. By definition, this will almost absolutely result in either overrepresentation or underrepresentation of the votes that are cast by the people who participate in the virtual caucuses. At this point in time, it is impossible to know which scenario will occur because it will depend on how many people actually choose to participate in the virtual caucuses. Change number 8. The virtual caucuses will employ computer software to calculate the viable candidates via a process known as ranked choice voting. The algorithm for this type of tabulation is absolutely different than the algorithm that will be used to determine viable candidates and delegate selection in the physical caucuses. Be sure to read through the 65-page delegate selection plan so that you can understand how ranked choice voting will operate in the virtual caucuses and how it will differ from the manner in which delegates will be selected in the physical in-person caucuses. Change number 9. The participants in the virtual caucuses will not choose specific delegates to the county or district and state and national conventions. They will only get to choose an allotment of delegates rather than select specific individual people. And last but certainly not least, the official time period for public input regarding these changes ended on March 13th, 2019. So there you have it. Go back and watch this video again. Take another good, close look and see if you can find the truth. George was right.